Oh, okay, here we are. We are doing the finance hedge today. So we will check things out. So the finance hedge basically is going to be, I'm like the CEO, so to speak. I kind of direct things. And it's going to be like this. And we have Maddie, Molly, Clint, and Monica. And Maddie, Molly. Only, yeah, these three, Clint and Monica. So four. So, and me, let's say me, I'm inside there as well. So Dan, all right. So for example, Austin, you're going to be in, now you have a lot more responsibilities. You both do, so you have relationship requirements, and as you know, and things so things will get a little more complicated, but not really, okay? So it won't be overwhelming, it's just, you're growing, and there's always growing pains with growing. So, with anything, we are going to discuss how we do things, and this latest project will be a good example. Like we did with me, Bucky, and Jeff, and we were able to build 6 houses, and we bought 4 or 5 pieces of land. You know, and we bought like 4 or 5 other houses, like flip houses type sort of thing. So we did a lot of good things. It ended up, you know, we all went apart, but it did a lot of good. In fact, you're benefiting from some of that good right now by what you know, Buck's able to teach you and what we're able to do. So we're going to kind of restart that process, but with the knowledge I have now as opposed to the knowledge I had when I was 25. Okay, so the essence of the hedge is get rid of the cat. He's not allowed in the process. So okay, let's go over some pros and cons, and I'll try to go over it quickly because we're running out of time. We're already at 2 minutes. So pros: combined resources, purchasing power goes up. We're able to do more things together than separately. Safety and insurance. For example, when Maddie got hurt, she basically lost $9,000. If she lost $3,000 a month, she lost. Normally, you can't absorb those kind of losses, but she didn't even miss a beat. Nothing happened. She didn't lose her rent. She didn't miss any rent payments. Blah blah blah. So there's safety in numbers, so to speak. Let's say if she needed a new transmission, the transmission goes out, that's $3,000. Okay, so if we divide it up between 4 people, that's $750 a piece, easily handled by 4 people. Diversification is like insurance. It allows you to diversify it allows you, it's kind of a cool thing because you're allowed to group together but diversify at the same time. We'll get to more on that later. But that's a really cool thing that's neat about the process. It allows you flexibility. For example, Maddie and Molly were able to go into Newport property. Me and Monica didn't go into property. I didn't go in because I wanted it to be their project. Otherwise I would have went in, you know, of course. But it was pretty much their project. So we stayed out and they benefited from the proceeds of that. Okay, so we're able to do that. We're able to resource together and then also split apart. So it's not as if you're completely controlled by the hedge fund, so to speak. Okay, also you're allowed access to bigger projects. We're doing a house right now. I'm going to go into some of the numbers for that, but it allows you to do these big projects with none of us by ourselves would be able to do, and you would be able to do as well. Some of the cons: you lose a little bit of sovereignty, not a lot. I'm going to say you lose about 15% sovereignty. So you can't just act independently, do whatever you want, because what you do affects everybody else, or what I do affects everybody else. So I can't just go on my own and just say, hey, I'm going to just do this. If I buy a car, which I just did, I let everybody know and why I'm doing it as a respect, not because they tell me no or anybody will tell me no, but as a courtesy to everybody. This is why I'm doing it. And if it's a big project or a big car, Clint just bought a car, Yari bought a car, Molly bought a car. So it's 4 cars we bought, and we combined our resources. We allocate different things. It's pretty cool. Let's see, what was the point of that? There's so many things. It's like a spider web. You can go in 5 different directions with any one particular direction. So okay, you give up a little bit of sovereignty, but not a lot. You can still maintain your sovereignty, just as Maddie and Molly did with their Newport property. And so potential family consequences and tensions, as you saw with the Newport thing, the fiasco, the deception and things like that. That can easily happen, and it can easily not happen. You got to be careful. But the reward for going into business with people you trust and value is far greater, especially when you trust them and everybody's on the same page. And there still things can go wrong, but if your hearts are not in the right place, then your family dynamics are going to break down anyway. So that's the like with Pete, the money wasn't the issue. It was the underlying character flaws that were the problem. Okay, so the Newport property really had nothing to do with it. The underlying property, the underlying character issues with Pete and the deception, those were the things. So that would have eventually happened anyway. It just, the Newport property was how it manifested itself. Okay, so those are some of the good and bad about hedging together. Okay, the good, okay, so let's say, for example, we each have $25,000, okay, 25, 25, 25, 25. Okay, and we each have about $25,000 access to credit, which we all do. Okay, so that, let's say between cash and credit, each person has about $50,000 access. 50, 50, 50, 50. Okay, and half of it's cash, half of it's credit. So really you only got $25,000 in assets. So each individual you really can't do much with $25,000. Okay, so all four together, that's $100,000. Now you got something to deal with. Oops, you got something to deal with. 25,000, you can buy a car, you can do this, you can do that, but you can't really invest unless you want to nickel and dime it. Stock markets, things that we don't want to go there. So really can't do a lot. So $100,000 together, plus $100,000 cash or credit. Now we got access to $200,000. Okay, before we only had access to 25, and then our own personal lines of credit. Okay, so you can buy. What we will do? We bought a house. So we bought it $80,000 before we bought the land. This is the land. 80 grand. That's 20,000 a piece. We can all handle that. Even if we don't do anything with the property for 4 or 5 years or whatever, or we turn around and sell it and just get out of it, like we did in Colorado. We were about to break even, on that one. So we bought the land for 80,000. We put in approximately, I'm gonna say 180,000. Let's say 180,000. Cash, credit, otherwise. That's about 260. That's about what it's gonna cost to build this house. 2,500, 2,600 square foot. About $100, let's see, $2,600 a square foot. So we got about $100 a square foot, which is we'll do it less than that, but that's about what you can, budget, about $100 a square foot to build. So we have a $260,000 property, or we have a $260,000 cost. The land across the street is listed at $890,000. So let's say even if we do $700,000, which I think we can easily do. Okay, minus our 260, I haven't done the math. Okay, so, I'm not considering, we can consider, commission, blah, 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 taxes, but we don't do that at this point. So we're looking at about $460,000 or $440,000 profit, less commission, taxes, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's a pretty big market for this house, and that's very doable. In Colorado, we were looking around the same cost, and we were looking at about $450. So that would still be a $190,000 profit margin to work with. So, but that's why I'm so excited about this property. Okay, so that is about where we're going to be at $700,000. If it's more, or less, we go up or down, but that's a pretty good guesstimate at this point. So that's why we're doing it. So we each invest $20,000 into the land, right? Because we divide by 4, me, Maddie, Molly, Clint. And so we got $20,000 invested. That's not a lot of money to look at this kind of a profit margin. Of course, we'll split that. We'll split that 4 ways. We'll pay off, the existing obligations we have within our family, and then we'll go. So we're only at 10 minutes. Well, cool. We're doing pretty good. I'm trying to speak quickly though. So that's how we do it. Okay, nobody can do this by themselves. Okay, we're just looking on the sidelines, looking. Okay, what do we do with our money? You know, can't do much for $25,000. So that's how the wedge works. Mostly purchasing power, flexibility. Allows us to do things that we can't do on our own. Also you too as well. So let's say to include you into this, we don't even have to include you in the hedge. So you don't have to invest in the hedge. Okay? Not a big deal. We work it out, whatever's gonna work, just like we did with Maddie and Molly. We will all talk together, we make group decisions. I kind of guide it because I'm the finance guy, but give my opinion, but everybody, Monica didn't feel comfortable going into Monica and Clint didn't feel comfortable, so they didn't do it. You know, simple. We still found a way to do it. They still found a way to help. So let's talk about you for a second. So let's say I talked to you a little bit on the phone. I'm going to try looking at doing some concrete jobs. Hopefully physically I can still do it. I'm not sure if I can. If I'm just doing forms and pouring concrete, I can probably do that. Get a little more able. We can do foundation. We can do the foundation for this house. We simplified it, made it easy. But I want a little more expertise before we do it. For you, obviously we talked about drywall. Can save $15,000 if you do the drywall, or we all do the drywall. If you were able to go into that field, but more importantly for you, looking at what I know. I would like to see you get skilled in each individual aspect. Framing, get skilled in drywall, get skilled in concrete, get skilled in roofing. But roofing, will be the last thing, or maybe in this winter. But I'd like to see you do the drywall because it's save a lot of money. Plus, it will get you another skill. And then if you work with us, like I said, you don't have to invest, you don't have to put any money in, but we would like to count on you to be able to do some work. And then you learn the framing aspects. You learn, we can design. Well, we design and build a house from the ground up. And considering you want to go into construction, that's a great opportunity for you to learn and be a part of the process without even investing. But you'll actually get the benefits because Maddie's already invested. How does that look? So you become more skilled. And if you wanted to go on your construction business alone, you just say, hey, you know what? I appreciate you guys, but I just want to do this on my own. You can do that. And we'll just say, okay, we'll just back off. But if you wanted us to invest in it, you're looking at probably $75,000 to $100,000 to get your business up and running. So if you have that, that's great. If you don't, you'll probably need a little help. You either got to go to bank, get loans. One way or the other, you got to get the cash because it does take money to make money. And that's an old saying, but it's very true. So if you don't even invest, but you're involved in this project, you can get some of the skills that you need in order to be a contractor. And that's where you're looking at. You help us, we help you, blah, blah, blah. But if you want to go more into the business aspects where we would actually invest in your money, we can just be investors too. Once you get to a certain level of knowledge to where you want to start your own business, and we can invest in that. I'm assuming after we do one house, we're going to do another house, and we're going to make a lot of money. And I'm assuming, just assuming that the economy stays normal and the economy stays reasonably well without the crazy stuff going on, then there's a lot of money to be made right here where you can gain in value and experience without actually risking any capital. So that's how it works. We'll make anything work. With the hedge that I sent the other video, Maddie and you are going to have to make some decisions on, this project is a sealed deal. We have to continue this project at this point because we're counting on everybody to contribute. After this deal, then we'll see where everything goes. But that's something for you and Maddie to decide how comfortable you guys are doing. But if we make $250,000 to $400,000, I don't see where you're going to see a problem with that. If we made $50, well, then obviously that didn't work as though like we wanted it to. But anyways, so that's kind of where the hedge looks. Then we're not going to get into the finance of money and depreciation value, inflation, which we've already talked about. But to kind of sum everything up, money is it's very simple but yet complicated. And so, and another thing, and speaking of which, you guys are going to have to make some decisions on. I think you should buy a car, because we just bought 4, not necessarily because we need them, but because we can see that it's going to be very difficult to get cars next year. It took me 6 months to get my car, and this is an Elantra. So supply chain issues, the value, how old your car is, how old Maggie's car is, 4 or 5 years old now. If one car breaks down and you can't get another car for another 6 months or 8 months, that's going to be a problem. My suggestion is that you guys buy a car. You guys have the means, you have the resources. Interest rates are low. They're only going to go up over the next 6 months. They've already gone up since the time I bought my car 3 months ago, since I bought my car just this month. I knew they were going up, so I wanted to get it in May, June, but I didn't. I still got a decent interest rate, but it was higher it was like 6.9% instead of 3.9%. So like an extra $20 per month. Not a big deal, but when you start talking about, a bigger money, you're talking about bigger interest. So there's a lot of things to talk about. That's just one of the ideas to get you guys on a secure future. And that's it. Okay, have a great day, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.